Is it possible to get experience without experience? Tune in and find out. Hey, what's going on? It's David Avellan, and I'm going to start doing the True Talk Tuesdays in video format. So if you don't like reading, then you're in luck. So today's topic is talking about how to get experience without actually experiencing something. Have you ever seen those job listings where it says entry level job requires 5 years experience? Right? It's kind of like a paradox of sorts, but there is a way of doing that, and that is through visualization. Now, visualization is sort of like a guided meditation slash trance where you're going to live through an experience in such vivid detail that it becomes a memory, right? Because to sort of understand the value of visualization, we do have to talk about memory a little bit. And if you reflect back on your last training session, so just think when you last trained, hopefully not that long ago. For me it is, right, because I had an ACL surgery. But if I look back and I try to remember as much detail as I can about it, then just stop for a moment and think, what would separate that from an imagined memory? So that if you just had a dream, and you try to separate a dream from a memory, what's the difference? Well, besides the physical consequences, nothing really, right? It's just in your head. Sometimes you have a memory of something you didn't even do. It happens to me all the time when me and my brother are talking about different stories that we had, and he's telling stories that I told him, but he thinks it was his memory, and vice versa, right? So at that point, it's just like a real experience. So what the visualization allows you to do is to gain the benefit of experience without having done the thing, right? So for the fight world, all the top level fighters and champions do this because, again, if you can, every time you step in the cage, it takes a toll on your body. But if you're able to step in the cage just in your mind and gain the experience out of that, it goes a long way. Now, I'm talking about experience a lot. What does that mean in the context of the fight world? Well, when you say someone is a seasoned veteran or he's got like 50 fights, a lot of experience, what they're usually implying is confidence, right? Like they know how to step in the cage. They're not, freaking out beforehand. Because why? They have experience, which means they've seen a lot of different situations occur, right? Them winning, them losing, fights being stopped in the middle of the match because you got to check a cut. So they've dealt with all these different situations, so they don't get fazed by much really because they've seen it all, right? So it's a confidence because they have lived through a variety of situations and they're still here. So in that sense, a visualization can accomplish just that. So a few things in order to craft a good visualization is one, you want to have it focused and know what the goal of the visualization is. So in the competition sense, we're usually looking for a successful outcome in a contest, whether that's a fight or you're doing a race or whatever. You want to visualize yourself winning. So in the fight world, that's very useful. Okay, and everybody should be doing that. And again, with the goal of that, it's going to give you that confidence. Again, that if you've seen or if you visualize yourself winning a match against a particular opponent 100 times, when you step into that cage and you're going to fight this guy or you're going to grapple or whatever, and you've already seen it in your head so many times, it's not as scary or not as nerve-wracking because you've done it before in your head. Now, what makes a good visualization is the level of detail. Usually when you tell someone to visualize this, they're doing just that, the visual, right? So they're seeing the image of them winning and then that's it. That's better than nothing, but not really that much more than that, all right? What you want with a very good visualization is to capture everything. The visual, hearing, taste, smell, the touch, and one of the most important things, what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So you have to think of yourself like a director or a creator of a movie, and you're gonna have to set the stage for yourself. To give you an example, and like when I'm visualizing stuff like this, I like to also think of the day when I wake up, when I'm going to the gymnasium, when I'm in the warm-up room, walking into the cage, then in the cage, and then afterwards. So like the whole experience. And if you just look at one segment, for example, the warm-up room, there's a lot of detail you can capture there, right? Like when I get in the warm-up room, what am I wearing? What's the temperature like? What does it look like? Am I in like a football where there's locker rooms there and benches? Are there mats on the floor? What color mats they are? Are they soft? Are they comfortable? Who is in the room? What are they talking about? Is your coach there? How does he sound like? What am I thinking? Do I have headphones on? Am I listening to music? What am I listening to? So those are just a few things, and you can tell already it can get really complex. There's a lot of detail that you can capture, and it's important because that's what makes it realistic. If you're just thinking of yourself like Tom and Jerry and the guy and just slamming them around everywhere and then getting your hands raised and $1 million check, it's a little far-fetched, right? It's not believable. If you remember the movie The Matrix, if you've seen it, there's a scene where Agent Smith is interrogating Morpheus, and he's telling him about the creation of the Matrix and how they had to go through many iterations because they had failed a bunch of times at the beginning because they were making a perfect world, and nobody believed it. They all woke up from the simulation. It was only when they introduced struggle and suffering that the simulation became believable and people lived through the Matrix program. It's similar with us, right? If I'm creating a visualization that's not realistic to me, and again, that's subjective, but like, let's say I'm a white belt and I'm gonna imagine myself grabbing Hickson Gracie and just destroying him. You're not gonna really believe that. Well, at least most people wouldn't. So the visualization would be wasted, right? You're telling yourself this story, you're trying to inject this memory, but your subconscious is like, no, that never happened or never will happen, right? So you have to be able to tell yourself this visualization and believe it's possible without hesitating, And a good test of that is if you could tell your coach your visualization, your story, if you will, and they don't give you a funny look. If you tell them, they're like, then you gotta revise your visualization. All right. So in other words, you want to make it realistic, but of course you winning, right? Because that's the goal, is to see yourself winning in this visualization. And speaking of that, to make it realistic, you want to try to have as many elements in your visualization match what you're going to see in real life. So rather than just imagine a generic opponent, you want to look and know what your opponent's going to look like and put that in your visualization, how the gymnasium is going to be like. If you can get in there and see it beforehand, great. See where you're going to warm up, see where the locker rooms are, the bathroom, the actual walkout area, the cage. If you can be in there doing a previous event, then you know how it's going to sound like and how the whole flow of the event's going to be. Because if your visualization matches closely what your real life experience is, it's even more valuable because it's even more believable. And you're going to feel like when you're doing the actual fight or competition, it's going to feel like you've already done this already because you have, right? You have created this visualization, which is replacing what a memory would have been. So all those things have great importance, right? Like you can't underestimate any of them. And you got to see yourself, again, like a nonfiction writer, so you're creating a story for yourself that's ultimately going to become true. Now, the best way, again, to actually do this process is first, create the focus or the goal of this visualization. And second, do your research, grab all the different elements that you're going to need, whether that means looking on the internet and seeing pictures of your opponent, the gymnasium, everything that's involved, including I haven't even talked about the actual competition, but that's important too. If you've done video, and know a basic idea how your opponent moves, and then you know how you moves. You have a game plan, so you're going to implement that game plan into the visualization as well. Once you got all that, that's when you start writing. Right? For me, I write down the visualization, and it can get quite lengthy, so it does take some work. Nothing's free in this life, right? So put some work in writing stuff down, and once you have like the script or the story, if you will, then you will narrate it and record it, right? So talk in your own voice and record yourself reading this. Once you have that, now you have an easy way of playing this back. When you find a moment to relax, just sit down somewhere where you can be undisturbed for a while, get some headphones on, and play your audio. And that's going to give you that guided meditation, because you're going to live through the memory as you hear yourself telling you about the visualization. Now, if you've never done this before, or any type of meditation or any sort, it's going to take practice, right? This is a skill, it's an art and a science. If you've never done meditation of any sort, you're going to find your mind straying all over the place and doesn't want to stay focused. So you're going to have to do this multiple times, and typically, even if you have a successful visualization session, you're going to do it over and over again, because you want to reinforce that memory that you're implanting in yourself. Now, a good indicator for me that the visualization is working is my heart rate. Everybody, when you're getting into competition, you have nerves, you get excited, and your heart starts pumping. And for me, when I start going through it, I can feel my heart going boom, 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 and it starts picking up, right? And that's actually a physical response to your visualization, which means that your mind's believing it. The subconscious is thinking this is going on and is getting excited, right? So that's a good indicator that you're getting into it, right? And when you're doing this, you'll do it multiple times, So I would be doing visualizations pretty much all the time. And you can make them vary a little bit in the experience, whether you're executing one game plan, something goes wrong, and then you overcome that, so you don't have to do the same exact one every time, although that's usually what I tend to look for, because you want to try to create that same memory, but you can always vary it a little bit. However, I do advise people, like, once it becomes fight time, or you're within a week of your competition, stay away from this exercise, because generally your mind's gonna already want to do it anyways, and you don't want to add that additional stress, because as I said, it does get you excited. If you do it right, your heart will race a little bit, your mind will get a little jittery. So if you're doing this the night before your fight, you're probably not going to sleep well, and that's not good either, right? So usually once we're within a week of the fight, the most important thing is resting and recovery. So I'll usually want to tune out and essentially shut off my mind. So watching movies or reading a book, or having a conversation with a friend, anything that's going to keep you from fixating on the fight. Because at that point, when you're a week out, you should have done all the focus and all the visualizations that you needed to do. You're not going to cram it in the last moment. All right? So again, that to me is the value of visualization. All the greats have done it, and since I learned this when I was in high school, I've used it in every aspect of my life. Not just in the martial arts, but in business, in relationships. It's important to be able to develop this experience, because getting experience firsthand is ugly business. You're going to get cut and bruised and all that. And usually it's because you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself. When you're doing something new that you've never done before, you're going to hesitate and you're going to second guess. So if you're able to do the intel beforehand and create the memories of a positive outcome, it increases the likelihood that much more. All right, so what do you think? Is visualization a good thing or not? Or have you done it? Let me know. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on it or your experiences with it. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have as well. And if you're interested in working on the mindset and the psychology of combat, you'll definitely want to check out my brother's course, which is blackbeltpsychology.com. There's a link on the description below. And that is essentially a summation of my brother and I's experience in competition and combat sports. That's about like 40 years of experience in one book, and it's the same path that and strategies that I use and my brother uses, and all of our athletes are actually required to read this book before they get into our competition team. So it's a must read if you're a competitor, or even if you're just somebody who wants to get more out of your performance and training. So again, you can check that out at blackbeltpsychology.com, link in the description below. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be alerted when the next video drops. Now, if you want to get more videos like this on a daily basis, go and visit my membership site at ffacoach.com. We have online video curriculums, our daily videos, and you can get bonus courses like the Kimura Trap system for free when you enroll today. So go ahead and help support the channel and visit today.